Hi guys, Lee98 here, and today we're going to do a very quick tutorial that doesn't actually involve Crate or any other software like that. It's just going to be Blender and how to rig a model for Mario Kart Wii properly. Because I have had a few people recently saying they're struggling with rigging, and we know that rigging is probably the most important part of modding in terms of characters because you need the character to move correctly for it to look good on screen. So to start off, I downloaded from the models resource the Electivire file, and Electivire will be a Pokemon in the Gen 4 mod pack. So this will be a little sneak preview into how I make him. And it comes with these four files here. You've got the free texture files, body, eye, and mouth, and you've got the model DAE. So first of all, you always get the DAE, or it could be .obj, and you put it into your FBX 2013 converter, and make sure that that is the top FBX setting there, because that changes it into a format which Blender can read properly. So we convert that then. I have already done that, but we'll just replace that there. So you can see that's appeared in the same folder today. So we can get rid of that for the moment, and we'll just minimize that down. Here we have Blender, which when you open up, you'll get this screen, and we never really want these. We can just get rid of those because we don't need those. And what we want to do first of all is bring the Mario Kart character we'd like to put our model over. So go to Import and go to .fbx, and for me, I will quickly find Donkey Kong because that's who we're going to put Electivire over. So here's my Donkey Kong file that I have never touched, and you can see the armature sticks out like that. You can see his tie and his face, and you can see he appears with two polygons. So now we will quickly import the Electivire file that we just made from the downloads. So there we go. We will do that there. Okay, so now the first thing you're going to want to do, because for me, I can't see the Electivire file at all. I go into the armature of the Electivire model and I actually delete that first. Get rid of it, you don't need it, it'll just ruin your model, especially for when you're rigging, it will make the weights all incorrect. So because I want the model to be one material when I'm importing into Crate for ease of adding shaders and other stuff, what I do is I'm going to hit Control and join the three meshes together, Control J, and you've got one mesh now with all of the meshes materials binded into one. So you can see he's a pretty similar size. We'll just rotate him 90 degrees quickly, and you can see that he actually almost fits quite well, but we'll give him a little bit of a scaling. There we go. So that fits pretty well, but you can see that the legs stick out a lot further than Donkey Kong's. So just to make it a bit easier, what we can do is we can head straight into edit mode, and I like to have it as wireframe so you can see the difference. And what we'll do is we'll pick the legs, sorry. So we'll take the left thigh and the left calf, and all we're going to do is, I don't want to rotate that actually. I'm just going to drag it in a little bit. Might make his legs look a bit weird at first, but it should be fine. But that should compensate a little bit for the rigging. And we'll do the same with the right. Just bring it in a bit so it's closer to Donkey Kong's legs. And there we go. So you can see there, it's a lot closer in. It's still not quite right. Um, I suppose I could rotate the legs a little bit just to bring them in a bit more, but I think that should be fine, and we will see in the model when I release it if it does work any good. So the next stage is to head back to object mode, and because I have aligned the arms with Donkey Kong's arms perfectly, I know that this character will work absolutely fine when he's holding on to the bike or the cart. So all I need to do now is go ahead and click X on the two Donkey Kong polygons to get rid of them, making sure the armature isn't deleted, and then quickly hit the new mesh of Electivire, hit Control to select the armature as well, and then we go to Parent with empty groups, and that's very important. It has to be with empty groups. So now that is parented to the armature, so it's not rigged, but they are linked. As you can see here, we've got the Donkey Kong vertice, Donkey Kong armature bones, and we've also got the ones from beforehand as well, which we will need to get rid of, but I will show you a method of easier rigging if you already have these, because it makes it a lot more simplistic. So we head into edit mode, and again, I'll go back to wireframe, and we can see here that this is the left ankle of Donkey Kong. So this is the old school technique for rigging the mesh. All you do is hold down and select, making sure you're on box select. Select all of the vertices, make sure you're in wireframe, do a little scout around, make sure the vertices that you wanted are in the selection. And I want that to be assigned to ankle underscore L1. So just hit the assign, and that is now assigned on. So that's how you can normally do it. But as I said, you can, if there are still some vertex groups in here, for example, we have the head, we zoom out quite far, and we select the head. That's just the head of Electivire, which we can already decide to assign straight away to the face, because we can see that will be the face bone. That will be what's turning in the game, looking at other characters saying, why are you trying to pass me? You're not going to be able to do that. So what we'll do then is now look at the spine, because that's quite an important part. And you can see the head is selected there, but we don't want that, do we? Because we don't want the head to be attached to the spine bone where it's making the weights all incorrect. So I will just select the pelvis as well, just to make sure we've got all of the vertices within this area here, which is the abdomen and the torso of Electivire. And then I go to the face bone, and I'm going to deselect that because we don't want anything that was to do with the face. So that looks pretty good, but I'm just going to zoom in. I'm just going to move my mouse up a little bit here. Zoom in, and I see that there's a few vertices on his legs. Again, I don't want these attached to his spine, so we're going to just hold Control and select them, and that gets rid of them out of the selection, and we should be good to go there. Okay, so that looks like it should be a good spin, and we will now, I might change those arms, although they look pretty good. We'll leave that, and we'll assign that to the spin. So because Electivire's also got a tail, I've always, unless they've got tail bones, assigned the tail bones, the tail mesh to the spin armature, because it fits very well with how you would expect a tail to work on the game. So I'll just deselect that quickly, just so it is the tail, and you can see that's just all of the vertices that are in the tail. Again, I want on the spin. So that's all assigned. If I press select, you can see what we've got assigned. And that's pretty good. So now we go down to the legs, and I can see here this is the L2 bone of the leg. So leg L2 there. And I'm thinking, because the leg L1 bone is all the way up here, and the difference between those two vertices with those vertices with that armature is quite far, I might assign everything below that to the L2 bone. So what I'll just do is box select, and I want to get rid of any vertices that are attached to the spin. So we do deselect. Now we've got the leg, and if you remember, we also assigned some to the ankle. So we deselect that, and easy as that, they're the arm vertices we want to attach to this leg. So click assign again, and we can do the same again over on the right. If you remember, that's what we did for the left ankle. Make sure it's exactly the same on the right. Click assign, box select. We don't need to deselect that. We can deselect that, and that's exactly the same vertices as on the left, but we want it on leg R2. So if we select that, it's just leg R2. Okay, so now for the most important part. You could call the legs important, but I would definitely say the arms are the most important part of any Mario Kart Wii character mod. So if I do a little bit of a zoom in here actually, we can see that this bone here, that one there, is the L1 arm. And again, there are no vertices that are very close to it because Electivire has a very big upper torso, which means it's going to be hard to rig anything to that. And what we might want to do is just do a bit of a box select here. Make sure we don't have any of the spin. So we got rid of that. And also it looks like we selected some vertices from the face. So we get rid of them. And you can see we have a few vertices on the left arm. So I'm going to attach that to the left arm too, because the bone sits around there, and that's roughly where the vertices should be in the game. So I'm going to hit assign, and the other vertices here should be for the wrist on the left. So there we go. We'll do the same again for the right. That's the right wrist. And we'll just do a big select there, deselect the face, deselect the spin, and that's the right two vertices. So that's the rigging all done. We then quickly head into weight paint mode. We can see that the weights are there, but if you remember, you can see that the rigging is also still there for these vertex groups. So let's get rid of these with this minus here, because we don't want those in our model, especially for when we're balancing the weights out. Hit SKL root, you don't want to get rid of that. And once you're on SKL root, just click weights, normalize all, and you should see there's leg 2. If you remember, they were the vertices we selected. Nice and easy. We can see that it's red, meaning that's where all the weight is for those vertex groups. You can see that the top of the legs have nothing assigned to it, which is brilliant. And the same for ones that do have stuff assigned. So let's just have a look at the face. There's no green in the face. You can see it's below because the weight is evenly distributed between those two vertices along that edge. But anything in the face is red. So I always like to do a quick check. I head back to object mode, select the armature, go into pose mode, hit G, and I move the character around a little bit just to see if there are any vertices not assigned, because they will stick in the center of the screen if you end up without any assigned vertices. That will appear and stop you from having to go all the way back once you find that out in Brawl Crate. Okay, so if we go to here to see the actual image of the character in Blender, we can see it's got a alpha blend so we can see through the character. But I like to create my own material slash shader here by going into shading, clicking on the mesh again, hitting this viewport here, and getting rid of all the materials that were already with this character, because I find it's easier for me to add my own. So I just press minus, 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 hit new, pull all these down to 0 because I don't find they're anything too special just yet. And then we go to, I believe, where did I put the image? I will cut back in a second once I have found the image. Okay, so I found the image and I dragged it from there into here, and I just connect the color to base color, and you can see that the UV editing is all incorrect. And just to explain what the image is, it was those 3 images from the beginning, these 3, all put in one area on Word, and then I took a screenshot of them all together. As you can see, it's quite small, but just there we have the eyes, the mouth, and the body. So then I know that obviously that looks awful, and we don't like to see that. So I head to UV editing. You can see the image I used here. I click A to select all vertices, head over to the image viewport again. I can see he's got his eyes on his hands and it looks awful. So I select everything here, and from previous knowledge I know that that is everything in his body. That is all the vertices that are assigned to the original body material. I scale them in a bit just so I know I can move it across to where the body should be. And then it's just a little bit of adjustment to make sure it fits right perfectly where it should go, about there. That looks pretty good. We can have a little play. Yeah, that looks very good. But now you can see his eyes look awful. Now this should be his eye, and I'm just going to scale it down to what I think the size of his eyes would look like on the character. And maybe we'll make them a little bit smaller to accommodate what I think the character looks like. There we go. That's pretty good. And we have one final set of mesh, which is over here, which is the mouth. And I like to keep my characters having their mouths open so they look like they're talking, annoyed, or excited. So I like the look of this bottom one down here. And you can see the scaling's too big. So we'll scale that down, move the vertices across, and that should be good. You can see the mouth has now appeared properly, and he's smiling with a big grin of all those teeth. So that's how you can edit your UV map so that the character looks proper. And you can see here that that looks pretty good, but there is an issue, and that's why I always come back to this viewport. And if you look at the eyes, they're missing, they've got a gap there. So I have to work out, is that a gap of the body texture or a gap of the eye texture? So I'll go back in here, and I think this needs a little bit of a scaling up. So I scale that across a little bit, and then I'm going to drag it across, and actually it hasn't moved. So there we go. I have now sorted it because I ended up having to move the image a bit more to the right. You can see it's a little bit blurry, but that's fine. We can sort that out when we get to Brawl Crate. Okay, so that's it. That's your character attached to the MKW armature of Donkey Kong, and all you have to do now is File, Export, FBX, and don't we love this part? We export it as an FBX into this location here of the Gen 4 mod pack, Electivire, making sure I know where it is and what it's called. Make sure you always scroll down and untick Add Leafy Bones in the armature category, export, head back to your FBX converter and convert to a DAE. And that is how to rig a character for Mario Kart Wii. So I will be releasing a video soon on Electivire in Mario Kart Wii, as well as a few other characters for a nice little showcase. Showcase? Yeah, we'll call it a showcase. So please subscribe so you can get more tutorials and understand how to make mods for yourself, and also for some fun content which will be coming up, especially with a few collabs and other stuff. So please let me know in the comments if this helps you, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Cheers.